Here he comes to save the day. It is Armed 7. Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix, and this again is Armed 7. It is a $4.99 shoot 'em up that doesn't do anything horribly unique. It's a solid game in terms of the gameplay in question, although there's a lot of missing elements in terms of things that would make the experience more pleasurable. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Now, I am playing with a controller. You can play with the keyboard, but in shooters like this, I always find that having a stick makes a lot more sense. Now, there are 4 difficulty modes. I played on normal and insane here. I'll play on hard just to change things up. I don't like playing on easy on these kind of games. They're not what they're for. So, you got a bunch of weapon choices to start off here, and I want to note that the charge weapon. Charge time is the amount of time it takes for your special weapon to recharge and be able to use. So, depending on all the weapons you select, not just the charge weapon, there is a different amount of charge time in question. So if I go like riot gun, Gatling gun, and the pile bunker, my charge time is like I can reuse it really quickly. But if I go beam cannon, rocket launcher, assault rifle, it takes a long while. This leads to some different playstyles, like the melee portion with the pile bunker. And even though it is, you'll find yourself doing things a little bit the same in terms of the dodge mechanics, it does add a different element to the game in question. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the rocket launcher, the missile pod, and I think I'm going to go with the submachine gun at this point. So we'll get started here. Now, one of the things you'll first notice is the presentation isn't exactly the greatest. The visuals are a little bit alright, but like you'll notice on the menu screens that the game itself just doesn't have that like appeal in terms of like a next-gen shooter. It just doesn't have that, you know, sort of style that you would expect. Now, starting with the gameplay here, we got a good amount of things to dodge on the screen. Here's some power and some shields here. Shields are going to take a hit for me. If I get hit, I'm going to get hit here relatively soon, probably. And the power is the amount your damage that your bullets do. Now on hard, you can see there is a reasonable amount to dodge at this point. You got to keep your wits about you. Come on, there we go. I'm going to use my special here. There we go, just missiles all over the place. I chose homing missiles because I'd rather focus on dodging at this point. Like Gradius, you see those, you know, power-up ships that you will get. So technically, control-wise, it's very good in terms of the controls. Although one thing you will notice very quickly is the angle in which you fire. So here, I'm shooting up right now. Okay, now oops, got hit. I'm shooting down now. Well, how do you shoot up and down? It's not via the second control stick on the controller, not at all. It depends on what you were shooting and which way you were moving when you started firing. So if I hit up and start firing, I'll fire at an angle, and as long as I keep on holding the fire button, I will keep on firing like that. So you have to keep that in mind, because in order to have some precise attacks, you'll have to, you know, let go of the attack button, which I do like. I do like the fact that you have to actually stop and think, well, wait, I need to fire a little bit differently. All right, we got a first boss here. The bosses are all right. You see, he's got the little Gatling gun there. One thing I do like is that the guns on the boss in question can be sort of ripped off of them if you do enough damage to that section, like you see right there. Okay. So, difficulty-wise, I'm on hard here. I have not died yet, although I have taken shield damage and all. The difficulty's all right. Insane mode definitely does up the challenge. Yep, this there. Didn't die in this section. Reasonable. I mean, if you really want the challenge, you're going to go for insane. And like I said before, the style here, I mean, this is really basic. This is just text on the screen. It does not give a good presentation, unfortunately. Now, enemy variety is there, but most of them are just, you know, either fly towards you or, you know, missiles or lasers of some sort. But it does do a good job of, you know, mixing you up and making you have to go forward and back at this point. Yeah. Now, colors can be a problem at times. You notice the green lasers that he was firing against the green background can blend in. There are some artistic choices that I wouldn't have made with this game, but I will say that on the flip side of that, the controls make up for it. This game is really solid in terms of control mechanics, and that makes up for some of the decisions that are made because I can react very quickly. Not too quickly, so that it's easy, but quickly enough. Okay, come on. There we go. So, now, what happens if, you know, I wanted to take my note cards that I've got on the right side here to explain what points that I want to make, and so I want to pause the game? Well, there's where the downsides of this game comes in terms of options. Resolution options? No. Sound options in terms of volume and anything? No. You can bind the keys for the keyboard, for example, and the controller, but other than that, there's not much. There's not even a pause button, which is just plain weird at this point. Especially when, you know, if I have to go to the bathroom, it would be nice that I could, you know, pause a game as opposed to this stopping here. Now, this would be an arcade-like experience, I would say, but, yeah, it's just, it's sort of unacceptable in my eyes in a game like this, especially when, you know, things come up, you know, things catch on fire. It would be nice to be able to, you know, sit back and not have to worry about that. Now, there is a lot of action here. There is a lot of good things to say about it. There are points like you see there in which, like, it's there for spectacle, but you don't know exactly what the game is truly going for. And sometimes the laser effects, like this guy over here, yeah, that's not really, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not cool. Now, you do have a small hitbox. You see that little green portion on there? That's where you're going to get hit. If you take damage on, like, your head in portion, you will actually not get hit, and so keep that in mind. And I'm taking lots of damage here, and I've already lost 2 lives. Come on. Oh, yep, I ran right into that. Alright, so I showed you a little bit of the hard mode, just for the sake of the gameplay. You can save replays, which is nice. Now, there is one other thing I want to talk about. And I'm going to play insane mode for you guys, just so that you guys can see me suffer. I'll just change things up a little bit to show you some different options here. The story. Now, in the store page, it makes a point about making a little bit of a backstory of this universe. Here's the problem. There is no story. As you saw there, I went from the menu to exactly into combat. And that's sort of disappointing. They presented this, like, Earth Federation, I think, and, you know, trying to get some backstory here, and you're not going to be here for the story in most cases, but it does set a nice backdrop in most cases. Here, it's completely taken out of, you know, out of the story portion in terms of there is no story. And not only that, the store page sort of, you know, indicates that there's going to be one just based on the description alone. So I have to say that is sort of misleading, and I'm a little bit disappointed in that. I mean, I'm not the kind of person who's going to say, okay, every game needs a story, but when you present it on the store page as such, you probably should have at least something. Now, audio-wise, the music's alright, sounds are alright, there is no voice acting or anything like that. Let's use my plasma gun here. Oh boy. Okay, there we go. You have to get used to the whole aiming mechanic, because you'll just find yourself sort of firing randomly just based off of other games, just keeping on firing, and you don't want to do that. Alright. Again, the robot here. Get some early damage in. He does have a health meter there. I've not really seen the time meter really come into play at all. It just seems like it's not going to play out in terms of how the game really thinks it's going to, in terms of either you're going to die at that point or, well, you're going to defeat him at this point. Alright. So that's a little bit of ARM 7 for you, and I'll keep on going to show you a little bit more to see how far I can get here. The weapons, again, have a bunch of variety to them. Keep that in mind. That is nice. The shield, in terms of, you can go up to level 3, and that's level maximum, so you can take 3 hits before being exposed to taking a life damage. I believe that the different difficulties give you more lives and less lives, although it's more so what's happening on screen. There we go. Yeah, I took a hit. figured I would, but... Alright, lasers. Oh boy. Yep, that's it. So that is Armed 7. Can I recommend this game? Well, despite its basic premise and beside the missing options, there is a solid shoot 'em up here. And if you're really looking for a shoot 'em up in terms of something to play, I definitely would consider it at this point. The missing options, resolution, you know, pausing, and the missing story, yeah, that's going to be a huge drawback. And for those who need those elements in there, I would avoid the game. But overall, I enjoyed my experience, and I have to say, it was worth my time. Alright, this was Dragnix signing out. Again, if you like this video, it helps me out if you like the video, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, making a career of it, blah, 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 blah. Alright, I will see you all later. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have a chance, leave some feedback and comments below. If you liked the video, hit that like button. And if you want more content like this, hit that subscribe button. This is Dragnix signing off, hoping that gaming brings as much fun to you as it does for me.